Hello again, everyone. Hope you're well. I thought I'd spend today's session talking to you about singing in close proximity with others. We're all in isolation. Many of us are city dwellers, and even if we're not, we have other members of the household with us. So how do you do it without winding up your flatmates, your neighbours, etc.? You've got two choices. One is to sing freely and make a sound and perform freely. The other one is to not, to either do it silently, and there is a place for miming and things like that in your own analysis, which we may talk about in the future. But what you really don't need to be doing is pulling back. That's the thing you really got to watch for. Vocally kind of moving back into the throat, getting tight in the jaw, perhaps in the tongue, posturally sinking back, apologizing for making any sound. You have to operate under the assumption that you are going to make a free sound. Bear in mind at the start of a warm-up, a lot of what you do is very light, mid-range, low. You're not going to overstretch anything too soon. So allow that first part of a warm-up to give you the confidence to start to edge up a bit higher. It's only really when we start getting higher that we really start to wham out the ringier sounds and, if need be, beltier ones. And by then, hopefully, you'll have a bit more confidence to do that. You could, by all means, put a pillow or towel over your mouth or just in front of your mouth for a little bit of a vocal warm-up. But again, I'd say performatively, that's not very useful for you. There are also things like mouth guards. They look very Darth Vader, and they may be worth exploring if you feel like you're really in an environment where there's so many people around you that you can't make the sounds that you want to make. But if possible, get the sound out, encourage yourself with vocal freedom, and allow things to happen. Make sure you're hydrated, of course. That will give you a little confidence in itself. When you drink water, it takes between an hour to 2 hours to get to the vocal folds. So allow that intake timing-wise before you practice. It's also worth you figuring out when exactly you're most effective. For most of us, when we wake up in the morning, our voices aren't that functional. Me personally, it takes a good 40 minutes, 45 minutes to get my voice anywhere near functional if I'm doing it in the morning. So maybe later on in the day, early evening if possible, and just check yourself, and bit by bit you'll figure out what the best time of day for you to rehearse is. You probably, if you've reached the point of being reasonably happy with putting your voice out there in the space you're in, you need to perhaps check in whether things are more reflective or non-reflective. If you're in a completely unfurnished room and it's made of mirrors and glass and a really shiny marble floor, the sound is going to ping around everywhere. It's going to be great for you, lots of auditory feedback. May not be so great for anyone who's in the vicinity because there's going to be a lot of sound in the room. On the flip side, if you're practicing in your own bedroom, there's lots of non-reflective surfaces, carpets, curtains, and that's very good for keeping the sound in, but you might not get so much back. Remember, at any point, you can give yourself a half-decent auditory feedback just by putting your hand behind your ear and curving it, a bit like the person who's trying to hear a little bit more. And you can take that one step further and even put your hand around here, and suddenly you get, as you can probably hear even on this mic, you get a little bit more ping back on the way you sound. Shower singing is worth giving a go to, certainly for all the steam. It gives you a lot of confidence, and as much as it sounds quite loud, a lot of it gets reflected inwards and back into you in the shower cubicle. Background noise may also give you a bit more confidence. Practice singing a little song where you have a radio turned up or a TV on, for example. That will also enhance your own powers of concentration. Ask your flatmates to perhaps turn the TV up when you want to practice, or if they don't mind, listening to a few songs on their own iPhone just whilst you practice. There is also the art of diplomacy, and that could be if you have a particularly tricky flatmate or neighbour, you just need to try and appease them with cake or chocolate, or asking them when you could possibly practice for a little while to disturb them the least. I hope these little factoids and tips help you out, and good luck with your practicing in these isolated times. Take care. Bye.